man. G'day, everyone. Who's Jai, that Aussie metal guy, here with Crannk.com. And I had to bring my American counterpart, Jim Taylor, as well along since we're talking Aussie metal. We do have one of the most ferocious and fun frontman in the Aussie heavy scene. Caught these guys a bunch of times. Unreal. Ryan Milla from Black Rheno. They've been smashing onto the scene since 2015 with their Let's Start a Cult EP. They've been around since Rattling Snakes, Chopping Heads, and Keeping the Pit battle ready, from underground beginnings to touring with legends like Napalm Death, Brujeria, and even opening for Pantera. Black Rheno have carved out their own beastly, chaotic, and groovy corner of Australian heavy music scene, but Milla doesn't stop at just tearing up stages. He also co-runs Cult Etiquette PR and a recording studio with Housefox Studios. Milla, thank you so much for joining me, mate.
Oh, mate, that's quite the intro. Thank you.
Mate, I am fast becoming the
was
king of the
amazing.
fucking intro, dude. It was something I done when I was doing all the written ones, man. Been wanting to get you on for fucking so long. But I'm gonna ask a question I haven't asked in a while, man. What was your earliest musical memory?
Earliest musical memory. Okay, so my my earliest musical memories was I used to listen to Triple M every night and going to bed, like on the radio. Back when it was an AM FM radio. I didn't have a tape deck or anything like that, and Triple M was what I'd listen to, and I just put music on every night. And I'm talking like I'm a little kid, like I'm talking probably like 7 years old, 6 years old. I don't know. My family didn't play music. No one in like there's no musicians in my family. Actually, my cousin, who was like 15 years older than me, he played in a band that actually did quite well back in the 90s called Baby Sugar Loud. They're like a rock band. They like toured with Powderfinger and that kind of stuff. But yeah, and then I remember asking my parents for like to buy me a tape deck, like a double tape deck, for Christmas. And they gave me Mariah Carey's Heart-Shaped Box and Billy Joel's River of Dreams as the two tapes that came with it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Dude, we're around the same age.
And I can't say I got into Mariah Carey, but I didn't mind Billy Joel. And then it was not long after that, I remember speaking to my older brother's best mate. I always remember this conversation. His name was Rob Card. He got run over by a train and survived. This guy's that's a whole story in itself.
Oh, man.
Literally, our mate Rob got run over by a train. For like a full Tangara straight over the top of him. He passed out on the tracks, kind of trying to cross the tracks when he was drunk, and fell asleep on the tracks. Ran over him, survived, still played soccer, did everything. Fucking not a problem. But anyway, that's another story. He's a legend. But I asked him when I was young, that's just another tangent, but I asked him when we were young, I was like, what are some cool bands, And he gave me a tape. Right. One side was Metallica, the other side was Nirvana. And I rinsed that tape. And then I didn't realize what punk rock was, but I discovered Smash, the Offspring album. And I was like, I love
that. Dude.
I didn't even realize it was punk. It was just this cool music. I didn't know what it was because I was pretty fucking young. And then someone gave me, I don't know what happened first. I think it was Coughing Up a Storm was Frenzel's album, Coughing Up a Storm. That was like my aha moment. That was this like moment when I was like, I found the thing in my life, the music in my life that just like fucking made me go like, what the fuck, Because like it was punk rock in my like when I was like sort of 12, like 12 years old or something. And that album, Metallica's It Was Black that I got into first, and then Injustice for All. And so it's like Frenzel Rom, Offspring, Metallica, and Nirvana as well, I guess. Yeah. That's my early memories. That's it all in a nutshell, anyway.
well, it's wild because y'all's sound is like a combination of you have not only melody but like the heaviness is like a hammer. It's like the guitars, the drums, everything. But then you the way you deliver your lyrics, the way you deliver your vocals, the way you guys, it's like you can hear where your influences are from, but at the same time, you have your own definition of who you are. And it's really cool. It's undefinable. Am I saying something wrong here?
No,
I hope
this
not.
is all compliments to me, so thank you.
So, Milla, I've been following you guys for quite a while. I was talking to Jim about, I think it was No Time for Numbnuts was the first clip I come across you
Great
guys.
song,
But
by the way.
yeah, can you tell me a little bit about how this originally started for you?
Yeah, so I own a recording studio, as I know you know, and I've been there for 12 years. And one day, this Spanish dude with a big beard and this Italian dude with a big beard, Sardinian, I should say. You don't call it Sardinian
Yes.
Italian, you call them Sardinian. And they walked in the studio, and it was one of the nights when they were the only booking I had, and I could hear these riffs coming through the walls. And I was like, fuck, and it was their first jam together. And anyway, they came out, we're chatting in between their jam, and oh, you guys got a singer, And they're like, no, man, we just met, we just met online, and we thought we'd have a jam. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, next time you come in, if you don't mind, I'd like to audition if that's all right. And they're like, yeah, for sure. And at the time, my other band that I'd been in for 8 years, which was like funk rock hip hop, like I was a rapper, man. It wasn't fucking heavy metal, dude. It was like Chili Peppers meets Infectious Grooves meets Rage Against the Machine, maybe a touch of new metal in there even, like through the 2000s and stuff like that. And it was definitely like everyone used to refer us to like the Oz, like heavy Aussie Chili Peppers. That's what everyone used to sort of reference us to. It was very, very hip hoppy. So I'd had that band finish, and I was sort of floating around, not doing much. And myself and the bass player from that band, we're messing around with like a hardcore band, because I grew up listening to punk and metal. Then I did this hip hop stuff, and then like my core is like heavy music. That's the thing that makes me just fucking, but I love all this other stuff too. And so anyway, yeah. And then, so they came in, and then I was sort of trying to do this other hardcore thing. That band had finished, and then, and we just started jamming. And half the reason I jam with them, obviously the riffs that Nano produces are fucking, I just love them. But the fun part was like, I'm hanging out with this Sardinian and fucking Spanish dude. And to me, that was just like, this is fucking like, I've never played in a band with anyone from overseas. Like, this is cool. I get to learn about them. I get to learn,
Right.
let's hang out with this mad Sardinian and Spanish dude. They're fucking cool. This will be fun, and they're just super friendly guys. And so we just started jamming, and it was, it was just all a bit of fun, really. And then as we sort of did that, I'd sort of started to develop this other hardcore band with the bass player from my old band and a drummer that I'd met at my studio as well, which was our original drummer, which ended up being the Black Rheno drummer for the first 5 years, Dougie. And then, I was sort of jamming with this, and I was jamming with them, and I wasn't taking anything too seriously, really. It was just sort of fun. And then me and Nano, I guess, we just sort of realized we were both on a very similar wavelength in terms of like, being able to, like, we've both got some skills and whatnot, but like also like our intent of like what we want out of music and what we want out of life, and how big a part of our life we actually have it. Like, it's like, I guess we were the two out of all those people I was jamming with at the time that were really connected on that. And then, and then our Sardinian mate sort of, it didn't really work out with him. And then the drummer that I was jamming with in the other hardcore band, Jack, came in, and we had this jam. And then when we all jammed together, that was like an aha moment of like, wow, there was just this fluidity of the way we jammed together. And it was like, whoa, and then that sort of ended up becoming the band. And then that sort of became Black Rheno. And it was all a bit by chance, really. It was really all just a bit by chance. Just jamming with a couple of different projects and things like that. Different bands, they're not projects. Fuck projects. We're playing bands. A project's something you do on the side.
Yeah, in science class.
Band is something that you got your heart in.
Right.
So yeah, but we were just sort of having fun jamming, and then that's just how it sort of came about. And that was sort of we just sort of had this little aha moment where we all jammed together. It was like, oh, hang on, there's something here. We can do something more than just play a couple of gigs a year and have some fun on the weekends, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then with the release of that bloody Let's Start a Cult EP, that smashed straight out of the gates, and you guys were playing all over the the fucking place as well. Did you foresee that happening?
Yeah, well, I guess like, like I'd been playing in bands for a long time up to that already, like I've got my head around the whole business side of things in terms of playing in bands and booking and promoting. And like, I understand all that stuff. It's what I do for a job. I've got the PR agency. I do bookings. I run venues. I've done festivals. I've mucked around with all sides of it. So once we sort of realized the three of us clicked together and it was like, hang on, there's something here. We basically wrote a bunch of songs. 3 months later, started playing gigs. We played, I think, 56 gigs that year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 3 months after jamming as a band, me, Dougie, and Nano, we played our first show, which I'm pretty sure was like November 2015, like November 18 or 20, something like that, which we're coming up to our 10th year. And then we booked our first show, and it was like I know how to book a band, I know how to book tours and stuff. So we just did that. So we didn't start like in our local area, just play our local area, then start growing. We just went straight to touring Australia.
Straight to touring, and you were fucking everywhere, which is a huge achievement. To be able to be a touring band in Australia, because I've talked with quite a few Aussie musicians I know, and like gyms over in America, they can fucking play all the time as a touring band. Here in Australia, it's like you got the 6 states, but you guys were playing fucking everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think we played 56 shows in that first year.
Yeah.
So we'd been a band for 3 months, and then the next 12 months we did 56 shows around Australia. Man. We just started putting out singles and putting out an EP, and we're all pretty fucking crazy. So it was like, let's just like, once we realized there was this thing, it was like, all right, let's go max 10. Like, there's no like, let's test the waters. Nah, fuck that. Let's just dive in.
Well, you said something interesting there, max 10. That is literally the sound I hear with you guys. It's one of those things to listen to y'all's record and whatever you've done without headphones, but I love hearing records with headphones.
Yeah.
When I heard this, I was my
onto, right? Yeah.
Dude, like I threw these on and I was like, my God, there's so many layers of your vocals, of the drums, of the guitars, of and it's like next generation hardcore. like I don't want to pigeonhole you into something, but like I hear so many things going on, and I've listened to like your singles like over and over and over, but I've listened to them through these headphones. I was like, God, this is hypnotic. It's hypnotic what you guys have created.
And the best way to catch Milla though, like Black Rheno, is live, dude. Like I fucking heard you guys. Obviously, what I was doing.
I feel that's true.
In the music media scene, I was getting the fucking No Time for Numb Nuts. I can't remember which PR I was getting that through, and that's how
from Chris.
That's how I found you guys. But when I went and seen yous live, I think it would have been a fucking New Dead Metal Fest or something. And dude, I was just absolutely blown away, man. Because you guys, I can see you guys live. You obviously, I knew you had played live before in other bands, but you had this chaotic, fucking catchy energy, dude.
Yes,
you can't help but rocking out when you see you guys live.
Yeah,
seconded.
I think like we're all pretty hypo as just like I'm fucking ADD as fuck. I don't know if I am or not, but I probably am. But like we're all pretty hypo. We all get pretty loose. And in terms of, I don't know, man, we just fucking go ham, basically. Like, it's just what, and it's not, it's like, it's just who we are. Like, so like I've had, as Joe, I've had a couple of back issues and stuff. Yes. And, I've had to sort of like, as I've gotten into my 40s, sort of like go, hang on a sec, I can't just like climb to the top balcony, throw myself off into the pit, run around screaming. Like, I can't just abuse the absolute crap out of my body anymore. I've got to be a little bit more regulated, but it's not like it's like that's hard to do because that's what I do naturally, like that's just what the music makes me do. Is it just makes me like there's nothing I love more than just going fucking ham and being completely out of control, in control but out of control at the same time. You know, like when you're in that moment with the music and there's a room full of people and everyone's just this back and forth fucking engagement, and
it's the energy, dude.
Completely lost, man. You're just completely lost in that moment, and there is no better feeling. Like, and it's hard to, you know, like we still definitely pretty energetic, but there are some things I've had to pull myself back off doing because it's like, you know, I just like, fuck, I want to be able to walk when I'm fucking 60, you know?
Exactly. You've had quite a few challenges. Like I've noticed that we've talked about this as well with your back issues and what you've gone on. It must have been you like heads down, bum up, man. You got so many challenges. You're in so much fucking pain, but you never complain about it. You keep running the Cult Etiquette PR. You keep doing the fucking recording studio stuff. You're still busting your ass with Black Rheno. It's a lot to kind of fucking juggle as well. And you went overseas for operations and surgeries and shit. It would have been quite a trying time for you as well. People probably don't realize how much of a challenge that was for you.
Yeah, the last like 4 or 5 years were pretty full on. I had some like herniated discs and bulging discs, and there's a couple of different other things, tendon issues and stuff. And I ended up doing 3 trips to Tijuana to get stem cell injections in my spine and in my arms and my neck and all sorts of things because it was falling apart pretty bad for someone my age. I used to ride motocross when I was young, so like all that crazy energy I had on stage, I used to have on a fucking, you know, two-stroke 250 motocross bike. I was watching like Demons of Dirt and fucking Terra Firma videos every day, and I just wanted to fucking launch fucking big jumps and try and do fucking hill clickers and shit. And I had big crashes and, you know, wrecked myself doing that. And then years of like, you know, I used to work in construction and stuff as well. So just years of being a reckless person. Like it's my nature, you know. You know, they catch up eventually. And so yeah, I had some pretty, you know, like. And I was very lucky. None of it ever stopped me from doing the gigs. But in between the gigs is what people didn't see was, you know, and I don't go on about it.
Right.
That's what it is. But yeah, there was some moments there. And I tell you what, stem cell therapy, it fucking works.
Yeah, it's hard not to bang on sometimes. I find myself in that position with everything I've gone through as well, but it's also inspiring for other people to hear and see the challenges we go through as well and use that in whatever battles they've got going forwards, man. So kudos to you, brother, for what you've gone through. I know you've kept your head down and gone through it, man.
Yeah, I was trying to fix my lower back. I was doing all the right things, all the physio, all that stuff, and it just wasn't working. I wasn't getting results, and it was just in such a bad spot. And then I mean, like I went and did, you know, like I went and did full organic food, cut alcohol completely out of my system. Yeah. Like I'm talking like, you know, doing qigong meditation to try and, you know, relax the nervous system so my body could heal, like bring down inflammation. I'm talking, I went to the nth degree. Like everything I do, I tend to give it my full, you know, energy, right? That's just my nature, whether it's we're rocking out on stage or we're organizing something or, you know, whatever I'm into, I tend to be pretty into it. And, you know, I was giving all of that like my absolute best, you know, like I was doing all the right things, man. I didn't drink booze for 2 years. I didn't touch anything, you know. And even now I'm back to drinking a couple of beers here and there, but I'm still pretty, you know, I'm still keeping my things in check, you know, because I've only really just gotten that stuff sorted in the last couple of years. And then, you know, and then at the end of the day, like I search out all these different modalities of trying to fix things and I'd get a little bit of relief, but it wasn't, you know, like, it was like, yeah, it was all a big, yeah, it was all like, man, it was all taking a big toll on my work and personal life. And, so man, I ended up, you know, looking into this stem cell stuff and, yeah, it's funny. I was listening to a podcast with Fletcher from Pennywise the other day. He went to the same place.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, I went to the place in Tijuana, CPI, and he was going on about it. I listened to this podcast with him and the dude from I think it's the Madball podcast. What's his name? Whatever it is. And there's this life of you know, one life, one something, whatever it is, podcast. Anyway, yeah, it was the same place he went to as well. So yeah, I ended up, you know, like, you know, it was pretty confronting. Like, you know, you go from San Diego into Tijuana, it's a big change of scene as you go over the border and you're by yourself going to some cell clinic in fucking Mexico. And you're like, you know, it's pretty confronting, you know, like, and we went, so how's this? We went and recorded the next album, which, you know, due to some of these things, we've had to push back from releasing, which we'll release next year. But we went and recorded an album with Machine, the producer, who's done like Lamb of God and fucking
Indeed,
and Clutch, all those Clutch. He's done like 4 Clutch records. So we went straight from the recording studio. The boys flew home, and I flew to Tijuana.
I seen that, dude.
Wow.
Like Jack, mate, fucking full on,
dude. And you can't have
a crazy couple of years. But man, here's the good news: fucking back,
man. And the one thing about that though, it would have killed any fucking Mexican food you have here. I was over there in America last year for a holiday, and I can't go into any Mexican store and get Mexican here because I'm like, it's fake fucking Mexican. It's not real.
So much better, right? Yeah.
Good, so much better over there. Better jump into some music, man. The latest single from you guys is a badass love song. It's an absolute ripper. I dare say the last few singles are a little taste of the new album. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last few singles, we've all written them after the album got recorded. And, sort of just keep things moving along, keep putting out music instead of, because, there is a bit of time in between the release and the recording of the album. And, they are different from, like, if you go back and listen to the first record we did, it's a lot more grindy. It's a lot more extreme in the vocal takes. And the next album's not going to be quite as extreme all the time, but there's still, there's still blast, there's still elements of grind, there's still those, but there's just a lot more. We've just changed the percentages around from groove to grind. So it's like, before it was kind of, now it's kind of like, a bit more of the groove, a bit less of the grind, a bit more of the party, but still heavy. And I think like what we're trying to do, and like, the thing is like the last couple of tracks we've put out are like quite punky as well. Yeah. The next couple of tracks we might put out might be way more groovy. Like we're never just going to do punk. We're never just going to do grind. We're never just going to do stoner metal. We're always going to, sometimes we'll be doing a bit more of this. Sometimes we'll be doing a bit more of that. It's always going to, do this. And
that's what makes you guys unique.
Yeah.
Well, you go from bloody, you could be, dude, I've done this before you guys in the pit. Do you mean fucking moshing your fuck out? And then you'll be like Tiny Dancer for a moment because you just have this really cool groove and melody in some of your tracks as well.
And that's a conscious thing too as well. Like we want everyone to go fucking mental. And then we want everyone to just be like, boom, party. Fucking let's go. Like having a mad bop and just grooving and just like, grooving on a fucking heavy, sick riff that just sits on that riff for a bit, you can just get into and bop your head to. And that's still what we're trying to do is I think we've often talked about is like trying to be as heavy but party at the same time as possible.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a lot heavier bands out there. When I say be as heavy as, there's way heavier bands than us, of course. But, like for what we do in our little realm of our little scope of the musical universe, that's what we're trying to do is trying to bring that.
Well, I was going to say it. That's what makes you unique. I think you're diverse and like you can easily go from grindcore to almost pop punk and then pop, but like especially with the last couple things you've done, I think you even trying something with your voice.
I've been playing around a little bit there, being a little less max 10 all the time, so that when I go to max 10, you feel the impact a bit more. And we've done a little bit more like not quite singing, but close to singing, like my pitch screaming.
It's it's like that Southern metal.
Oh yeah, we're massively inspired by fucking Down,
right? So
sort of stuff.
So like instead of like growling the whole thing, you have this melodic growl, and that's what like dude, it's so Milla, it's so cool, dude. I can't even. Thank you, man. Like, appreciate it. Oh my god, it's because like to hear that grind of the guitars and the drums, and then to hear the dichotomy of between it. You have like very low and then melodic above that. Like that's amazing, dude. Sorry, not to.
It's the kind of music that you want to be playing while chopping heads while wearing your fancy threads as well, dude. Which is an absolute ripper, man. I was waiting to fucking tie that in somewhere, dude. I'm like sitting there. Tell us about that single, brother.
Yeah, I mean that's just pure fun.
There's
nothing too serious about that. I think the lyrics of the song are like, chopping heads wearing fancy threads, motherfuckers. What is it? We're basically talking about getting in the car, coming to your town, chopping your head off with a fucking DS1 distortion pedal, and burying you in fucking drums and dumping you over the fucking side of a boat, and like going to the next town and finding the next bunch of victims to chop their heads off, and doing it whilst we're wearing our best clothes. So we're getting like it's tongue in cheek, man. That one's just pure fun. Nothing too serious.
It's beautiful, dude.
It's just fun. It's just a fun song.
It's a fun one, man. Snake Will Rattle, dude. That track fucking dug the shit out of that in the lyrics as well, man. It's dark, but it's also kind of pretty inspirational as well, man.
Indeed.
About not fucking.
That's probably
around.
that track's like referring back to some of the trials and tribulations I've gone through with trying to fix my body.
Yeah,
that's what that's it's like talking about like the heavy shit that fucking happens, but it's like that heavy shit. If you can get through it, it makes you twice as strong.
Oh, it fucking hit me, dude.
You can use that. Like you can use all the shit that happens in your life, and you can just fucking mope about it. And man, I had my moments of moping. Don't. I'm not bulletproof, but it's like when these things happen in life, you can either you fucking know, man. You can either fucking sink or swim.
Exactly.
And sometimes that swim is a really hard swim, and it feels like you got a fucking weight around your ankles, and you've just got your arms, and you just keep it above the water, but you fucking stop, and the next thing you know, that weight is gone, and your feet start kicking too, and then you're like, oh, hang on, just doing laps now, and that's sort of what that song's about. It's just like.
Yeah, man, I felt that, dude. It hit me
back control of your life, and
it fucking hit me hard, dude. And there's a lot in what you're saying for that as well, especially what we were talking about before with the Zen. And I've been diving into a lot of that philosophy and shit, and going through some of the fucking darkest, shittiest times in your life can actually really bring out a fucking sense of awakening as well. And going through all that fucking cancer stuff I went through, I was told I'm not even meant to be here. So every day I get up and get to chat to legends like you and fucking do what I do, supporting the scene, around music. It's an absolute fucking joy. And I've been the same, man. I've been sat there, had my days where I'm like, fuck, poor me. And it's like, well, wait a sec, man. I'm still alive. I'm still fucking kicking. Each day is a blessing.
Yeah. And that's, 100%, man. Like, like, fuck. And everyone goes through their shit. Everyone has some shit that happens in their life, and it's just a part of life. So I guess it's how you deal with it, and sometimes it takes a little while of dealing with it to get to the other side where you start to deal with it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're just dealing with it, and then before you get to a point where you start to deal with it.
Yeah.
And and I guess that's what that song's sort of reflecting on. It's all about that kind of stuff, and just man, you fucking dude, you just learn a lot about yourself going through these things. You learn a lot about yourself, become way more self-aware, way more compassionate to other people and just different situations and things you might not know about that's going on in someone's life before you go and assume or.
And that makes you want to work twice as hard, Milla, especially with the music. And I bet damn sure you have a whole bunch of music to come out. You got the album you're working on. But also, besides all the stuff with Rheno you're fucking doing, you also got Cult Etiquette PR. You're helping lift up other bands and kind of raise the profile for bands in the scene and doing your part for the music scene. So tell me a little bit about that side of things for you.
Yeah. So I've been running Cult Etiquette with my mate Dicey since 2000, I think.
Yep.
And we don't do it as like, it's not like it's like we don't do like tons and tons of bands. We just do we're kind of like that smaller boutique-esque or whatever PR agency where we just work with a handful of cool bands, cool releases, and we just help them get heard, like send out their press releases and engage with the different sections of the media, podcasts and things like that, YouTube, whatever. Just help them spread the word of their music, essentially. And then, I've been running my recording studio. So all those singles that you've done, I've recorded, mixed and mastered all those tracks. We've recorded them at my studio. And, everything we've done, Rheno's done up until this point has been recorded at my place. And then the next album, we went overseas to do it, just to mix it up and do something different because, we've spent 10 years in my studio messing about. And whilst it's a great studio, it's nice to just go somewhere new, right? Try something different, but
that being said, your records sound amazing, by the way.
What was that experience like though, getting over there and going and recording somewhere else instead of doing in your studio at home.
Oh man, it was unreal. Like, it made me feel good about some of the things that I do in the studio. Because I'm like, oh, he's using that. Oh, I use that. Oh, that's cool. You're like, oh, he's doing that technique. I do that technique. Like, oh, this is great. But
Right.
like, so like when it came to things like mic placing and what mic you're going to use in a guitar cab and stuff like that was everything he did was awesome. And but it was all like, oh yeah, this is stuff we do. But the thing we went there for was his brain, was his creativity. His that extra person that becomes a member of the band for a little while and pushes your level of creativity essentially.
And I would say it like if you worked with that and be like, okay, here's our vision, and then I feel like that would make you tighter and be like, all right, now that we did this thing for the record, now that's the way we're gonna play this fucker live.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, so we took a bunch of songs over there. We cut one whilst we were there. We'd written a bunch before we went. We cut a couple before we went. Yeah. We'd written the album, and then it was quite heavy. It was quite similar to the last one we did. And at the time, we were working with Youngie from King Parrot a bit, and he got in our ear a bit. And he was very helpful as well. It was to have that extra outside opinion. And he was like, man, you need to get a bit more of the groove into it. So we went and rewrote a few songs that were like quite grindy and put them, and they became like fucking full party fucking metal jams. And so we did a bunch of rewriting. Like we probably wrote and recorded that album 3 times in my studio before we went over there. And then, and luckily I got the space to do it. So we know we're fortunate in that sense. And then when we got there with him, with Machine, then he, threw his 2 cents into it all as well. And, like, they weren't completely rewritten songs, but it was just like, okay, this is how we can finesse this section, or this may be this little thing. And, okay, maybe we can trim that by this and that kind of stuff. But it was how he got the performances out of us, having someone else do it. And just like, yeah, like there was like, yeah, a bunch of like rad influence that he brought into it, which was, like the dude's a,
dude, it's so melodic.
He's a machine.
It is so melodic. Like you can easily bang your head off, but at the same time, there's like not only like you can do that, but like the melodies going on. Like that's amazing, brother. And you guys have done such an amazing like it's another dimension to hard music.
Exactly, and it's coming up on a decade of Black Rheno carnage. Milla, you've made some great fucking memories, toured with some good bands, man. What are some big highlights so far? Because you got a whole bunch more yet to make.
Yeah, I mean, like, like our big highlights are definitely like, supporting Pantera last year. Was it last year? With King Parrot Adelaide Entertainment Centre. Like, that's the biggest stage we've ever played on, biggest crowd we've had. And, Phil Anselmo stood side of the stage pretty much the whole set, just nodding his head with his arms crossed, doing the whole fill, like just fucking, you could just see, he was just, he was just enjoying himself, right? And it was like, that's pretty sick. And we when Phil came out with the Illegals back in 2019, we toured with that. We did like 4 shows with them then.
Yep.
And I got to get up. I got to get up and sing "Walk" with Phil, and did like line for line. He'd sing a line, I'd sing a line.
Right.
Mid set, he gives me a big hug, pulls me in. He's holding my head, the back of my head, and he's looking at me, going, "Fuck yeah, brother." I'm going, "Fuck yeah, brother." We're just like growing out. So like, like, man, this, fuck. As a kid, if you told me any of that was going to happen, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, mate. Like my like late teens, early 20s, like in that, back when you're in that real like proper party zone of your life where you're like every weekend's just a party, we'd always go back to whoever's house and we'd have broomsticks and shit and we'd be fucking just cranking Pantera. Like that was the soundtrack to growing up. So that was, just playing air guitar, broomsticks with air guitar.
Yes.
Just knuckleheads, having a good time. And
so,
that was, it's pretty surreal doing those shows, like, man, there's been a bunch touring Japan with I Hate God, playing with Church of Misery and I Hate God, and like Shinjuku, and the crowd going, like, mate, absolutely mental. Yeah, Napalm, but some of the shows we've done with King Parrot have just been insane, and Psychroptic, such good guys. You know, so lucky to be supported by you know the Australian heavyweights like that, and you know be taken under the wing by those kinds of bands and play with them, and then you know, and then also like playing with bands like the Black Swamp and Mountain Wizard Death Cult. You know, like they're some of the best shows I've fucking seen. Just like our local crew playing, you know, to a room of 100, 150 people, just like world-class bands, you know, that aren't these big like names, big name bands. They're not like big international bands. Like we're not a big international band. And man, there's so many nights that we've had just rocking out to our mates' bands that just are fucking unreal. And you're like, man, this is such a good feeling. So yeah, I don't know. Like we've been fortunate that we've played with, you know, when we were recording that first album, whilst we were tracking drums, we got an offer to play with Red Fang on one of the nights we were recording. So we recorded all day in the studio drums. Then we got in the car, drove up to Newcastle, played with Red Fang. And the next day went back to tracking drums in the studio. And that was like, you know, like that's just a fucking random thing to happen, you know, like what? We just got this random show to support Red Fang in the middle of the drum tracking process for our album. So we were like, yeah, you know, like just there's all sorts of, and you know, just going to America. We went and did South by Southwest. We went and played over there and just had an epic week. We played with like Iron Reagan and Darkest Hour and Ringworm.
Wow.
There was a couple of others, like, you know, we played like LA, the Regent Theater in LA. So the sick theater downtown LA, you know, and like, you know, like we got off the plane and 6 hours later we're on a stage with fucking like Ringworm, Darkest Hour, Rivers of Nile.
Wow.
And the Rivers of Nile guys, they were such nice dudes. We got to hang with them. They were so lovely. And then there's just a lot of things that we've, you know, all these sort of little things, you just never know what's going to happen. So you just never stop doing it, right? Because obviously playing music is really rewarding. It's an obsession. It's like I'm absolutely obsessed with it. We're all obsessed with it. You're obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. He's obsessed with it. We're all obsessed with it. It's why we're here talking right now. So we can't not do it. But then, you know, so that's the creative outlet that we all need. But then like, man, I'm just some fucking dude that, you know, like didn't really play much music in high school, got into fucking some mates that I met were into hip hop, got into rapping and making like Aussie hip hop beats. Like I was listening to fucking the Hilltop Hoods and shit, you know, and like was like, oh, I'm going to buy some computer gear, you know, I'll fuck around with that. Next thing you know, I'm fucking recording some beats at home. Next thing you know, I'm starting a band. Next thing you know, I'm fucking touring the country. Next thing you know, we've done that for 8 years and we've done, you know, had video clips up on telly and all this kind of stuff with the hip hop band. Next thing you know, I made a mad Italian, Sardinian and Spanish guy. Next thing you know, we hook up with this other dude and we start this fucking metal band. Next thing you know, we're fucking touring, you know, like,
yeah.
Like the next thing you know, like my little home studio turns into like a bit more gear and I start recording bands. Next thing you know, I'm a fucking like, I've gone from like, I left school at 16 to become working construction as a landscaper. I was like paving driveways and building sandstone retaining walls. And then I did heaps of carpentry, doing renovations on houses and shit. And next thing you know, like I fucking just, no, I'll just try this. I'll just do a bit of that. And next thing you know, all these things keep happening. So you just keep doing these little things. And, you know, now I'm like, I work full time in the music industry, recording, you know, running a studio, recording records. I get to tour around in my band. Life's fucking awesome, man. And it's just why, like, it's why you never stop doing this stuff because who the fuck knows what can happen? And like, you know, and I don't mean that in the terms of like becoming a big famous person, like, oh, you could make it big. It's no, what experiences you can have by just continually follow what you're passionate about. Like, just have faith and do it and just go for it. Like, fuck, man, like next year we're going to put an album out and who knows what will happen after that. Maybe we'll go tour the States and Europe. Who knows? Maybe you won't. I don't know, but we'll find out, you know. For it, and if we get the opportunity, we'll fucking take it.
Damn straight. I reckon that's a perfect place to leave it there, Milla, mate. Everybody
Now the team needs to go out there and play the best game you've ever played.
Exactly. They're going to fucking play. Massive thanks, Milla, for hanging out and taking us through the wild ride of Black Rheno, Cult Etiquette, and what you do with Housefox. Everyone, make sure you spin the latest single, ABadAssLoveSong. And if you need to be battle ready and chopping heads while wearing fancy threads, go out there and crank some Black Rheno, support the underground, check out Cult Etiquette PR. He's got a bunch of bands on there they're working with, and keep your eye on Housefox Studios for some of the heaviest sounds coming out of Oz. Any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to chuck in there, my friend?
Just a thank you to both yourself and Jem for having me on the show, helping support the music, continuing support all the bands that you support, and it's really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Everyone get some Black Rheno, crank it loud. The neighbours going to want to hear it too. Cheers, mate.
You.